Hey guys, if you're seeing this video right now, that means we have finally hit 2K subscribers.
Congratulations, it's a celebration. Party all day.
I didn't really have any ideas what I would do for a 2K subscriber special, but what if we ranked every single arc I have made? Genius! Why did I think about this earlier? I was going to do just a basic tier list, but there's one problem. I have made 104 arcs. So instead, I'm going to rank every single arc in order to the best I can with these badges here. And I'm also doing this in 2 parts because ain't no way I'm going to fit all of this into one video. Spoiler alert, most of the early ones are not that good. Now you're wondering to yourself, what is an arc and why do I call them arcs? Well, I'm going to explain them real fast. It's basically when like an anime or TV show is focused on one story arc for a couple episodes. That's basically what I do in my videos. A couple videos taking place in this location and another couple videos taking place in another location. Okay, time to begin. My very first arc. This arc has the first tower video I've ever made, and my first ceiling fan videos, and it takes place in Indiana. For my first arc, it's okay. The ceiling fan videos and the mower videos are really the only good thing about this arc. And the few tower videos in the arc are just not that good either. Like, look at this non-existent quality. I am league superior to this now. In the end of the day, I give this a D-. The very first Springfield arc. And I gotta say guys, this is kinda boring. This arc is more tower focused than the Indiana arc, but that doesn't make it any better. There's very few tower videos and they're all low quality. I made these videos with an ancient ass phone and movie maker. Of course they're going to be low quality. And then some of the videos on this arc are just videos I would never upload nowadays. Like, why the hell did I make these videos here? Yes, this here is the very first Springfield arc, but all the other ones after this surpass it. I'll give this an E because there are worse arcs after this. This might be the only arc that has no tower videos in it whatsoever. The Herman arc focuses more on my other interests like sirens, ceiling fans, and other stuff. Not a single tower video in sight here. There are 2 cool microwave towers on the way to Herman that I regret not filming, but like I said before, the quality was way too low at this point in time, so they probably wouldn't have been bad anyways. I'm going to give the Herman arc a D-. The first Branson arc only has 4 videos, and they're not really too special honestly. My favorite being the big ass ceiling fan video, while my least favorite is the washer video. I was wrong with the Herman arc. The Herman arc is not the only arc that features no tower videos. The Branson arc also has no tower videos at all, and this really pisses me off honestly because the hotel I was staying at had a really cool radio tower with 300mm, and I was going to film it, but I completely forgot to. A little side note, I love how the last 2 videos are filmed in the hotel that the second Branson arc takes place in. Good way to connect the 2, even though the second one is leagues better than this one. I'm giving the Branson arc E. The second Indiana arc is basically just a worse version of the first Indiana arc. I do have to give it some credit because it did give us a cool train video, and the tower videos in this arc were much better than all the others prior. The finale of this arc is 2 giant TV towers. This arc also gave us one of my most popular videos ever, but unfortunately the video itself is one of the worst videos I ever made. Like seriously, who the hell enjoyed this video? Who enjoyed this video this much, bro? It's nothing special, it's getting an E. This arc also just has 4 videos. I like how it features a cat video. Everything else is meh. This arc brings us the very first tower compilation I've made. Unfortunately, it kinda sucks. What are these screenshots? What is this quality? I mean, it's cool seeing how far I came, but at the same time, it just kinda sucks watching my old creations and just seeing how aged they are. Cause look at this, dude. This has aged ungracefully. Just another nothing arc. I do like how it has a cat video in it, so I'm just going to give it E+. I
have a little bit of a soft spot for this arc, not gonna lie. The first Springfield arc is nothing compared to this arc. When it comes to early Big LT Tower videos, the second Springfield arc has some of my favorites, honestly. Some of the towers from the first Springfield arc reappear in this arc here, and I filmed them at night, which is really cool. And it connects the first and second Springfield arcs nicely. And it also features a cat, and if you know me, I love cats, so it gets a little extra points there. And for whatever reason, the colors on the final video are so vibrant, like extra vibrant than usual, and I really like that. This is definitely one of the better of the early Big LT arcs. This arc surpasses all the other ones behind it, but it's still early Big LT, so in the end of the day, I give the second Springfield arc a respectable C-. And here we have the only Springfield arc that is not numbered. My reasoning for calling it the partial Springfield arc does not really make any sense nowadays. It was because the trip itself was not mainly focused on Springfield, it was a zoo. But I still went through Springfield quickly for some errands, so it's still technically a Springfield arc. I also made 2 other tower compilations that were much better than the slop that came before it, at least. I filmed the malfunctioning beacon on a radio tower, and the final video of this arc is really cool too, just because the amount of obstruction lights you can see in one video. It's not better than the second Springfield arc, but that's fine because it's better than a lot of the other earlier Big LT arcs. I give the partial Springfield arc a D+. We are finally getting into some good territory with this one here. This is the second Branson arc, or what it was originally known as, the Branson arc Part 1 and 2. Because if you didn't know, the first 16 videos of this arc was actually one separate trip, while all the others was a whole nother trip. We left Branson and proceeded to return back to Branson 2 or so days later. I have no idea why, honestly. I like how this arc features 2 full washer cycle videos, one of them being one of my most popular videos ever. And I actually like it, despite it being a little aged. I like the amount of water towers this arc has too, most of them having beacons. Quality is also a little better than before since I had a new phone at this time, a Samsung S10 Plus. For quite some time, this was actually the biggest arc I've ever made, until it was surpassed by the Florida arc, and then the Florida arc was also surpassed by twice the amount. Crazy to think that this used to be the biggest. This was absolutely left in the dust. It still has some flaws I just can't ignore. Like, some of these videos were uploaded out of order from when they were filmed, and I guess I was scared to be called out for filming a cross. But the second Branson arc is still one of the best early Big LT arcs out there, so in the end of the day, I give this a B-. Another 4 video arc. The siren videos are pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. The tower videos are okay, I guess. There's not much going on here, it's just another nothing arc really. D-. This is the shortest Springfield arc. I used to always consider this to be the worst Springfield arc, which is a shame because this here was the result of a birthday trip. Nowadays, that's not really the case anymore. It's not too much better than the first Springfield arc. I really only filmed 2 actual towers throughout this whole arc, but both are better than anything you see in the first Springfield arc. The first one being the old Springfield Highway Patrol Tower, and yes, this is where this picture originates from. The plan was to film it up close at day and night, but unfortunately some things happened. Not only did this specific tower here take forever to go into night mode, but I was at a gas station and some dude walked over with a weapon, so my dad decided to pull out, and instead of going to another gas station or a parking lot, he decided to just leave. So yeah, thanks Dad. But still, this tower was determined to not be caught going into night mode whatsoever. I swear to God, dude. The other tower I really wanted to film had a super rare FH306, and the hotel I was staying at was on the other side of the road from it. Unfortunately, that same exact tower got a whole new LED system sometime before the vacation. In the middle of the trip too, I got hit with a really bad cold. It had me so weak that I couldn't stand up for normal periods of time. It was that bad. All of that combined is the reason why I didn't really see the third Springfield arc in a positive light for a long time. It's no longer my least favorite Springfield arc, but it's still on the lower side. D+. Ah yes, the Jefferson City arc. This is the beginning of a lesser known series. It's similar to the Springfield arc series, but this here is like not even half the size of that whole series. But there's like 6 or 7 arcs in this series, I guess. So, how does the very first one hold up compared to all the others, and what came before? I think this arc is better than a lot of the other arcs that came prior. The structure of this whole arc is pretty good. We got the very beginning here, and then we got our middle section here, the meat and potatoes of the arc, and then we got a finale, aka the drive back home. It still has its problems I'm not too fond of. The videos I'm pointing out here were actually a few months older than all the rest of the videos. The arc itself was from October 2020, but some videos like the one you see right now is from a prior trip from January or February 2020. Since both videos took place in Jefferson City, I just mashed them together, which I would never do nowadays. I also visited a couple tower sites during the trip, so of course that adds points. I visited a cell tower site and 2 highway patrol tower sites. So despite some flaws, the arc itself is pretty good for what it is, you know. I'm going to give the Jefferson City arc a respectable C. Not even 1 month, and the Jefferson City arc already got a sequel. Yeah, so a couple days after the first trip, I actually made a second trip to Jefferson City on Halloween Day for whatever reason. So what I liked about the first one was completely thrown out the window here. There are no videos on the drive there, and only 1 video from the drive back. This arc does have new towers though. Unfortunately, the quality was not all there. I did not do these towers justice with this camera quality. The camera quality of the first Jefferson City arc just looked better, but that was probably because it wasn't sunny, it was overcast. Overcast days are my favorite days to film towers. Sequels are supposed to improve on the original, but in this case, it really didn't. A little disappointing, but the other ones after this are better. So yeah, this was a bit of a downgrade. I'll give it D. Alright, I'm going to speed it up here. The siren content on this arc here is pretty cool. I filmed a lot of sirens on this arc. None of them were test videos, unfortunately. The tower content on this arc is okay. I filmed 2 tower sites on this arc, one of them being a monopole and the other one being a normal cell tower. And I also filmed a brand new tower as well. It's nothing too special. I'll also just give it a D. I do think this is better than the original Licking arc, but most of the towers I filmed along the way were not too interesting, other than some towers in Houston, Missouri. Nothing interesting. D-. Now this is a much more worthy sequel to the first Jefferson City arc. I filmed 3 tower sites, and 2 of the 3 were really cool. Specifically this weird shaped tower you see on the screen right now. The other one being this massive red and white tower. This is far superior to the Jefferson City arc Second Coming. It had a cool name, but yeah, it wasn't too much. This, on the other hand though, is much better. This one gets a respectable C+. Now, I guess you can say this here is like a revolution for the Springfield arc series. All the other Springfield arcs before this point usually started abruptly and ended abruptly. No drive there or drive back. So this is very similar to the first Jefferson City arc. I filmed the drive there, I filmed the middle part which was in Springfield, and I filmed the drive back home. This is how I like to film my trips nowadays. There's just one small problem. This arc is 14 videos long. And you want to know how many videos take place in Springfield? Only 2. So yeah, in the end of the day, I only filmed a basic monopole and 2 downtown Springfield towers. The latter of the 2 videos obviously being the cooler video. This arc actually peaks during the drive home from Springfield when it's all dark and every tower is going into night mode. This is where my most popular tower video came from. This arc has an okay beginning, a lackluster middle, and a really awesome ending. But why was this random video uploaded out of order? I'm just going to give this a C+. This arc is basically a nothing burger. I have like one cool ceiling fan video in this arc, but that's really it. And there's some videos that just feel like filler, like this mini oven video. I'm not even into ovens. E-. This is better than the 4th Springfield arc. Not only did I use the same formula that I did in the 4th Springfield arc, but I also stayed overnight in Springfield. That meant that I got to film a bunch of tower videos at night. This arc also introduces a bunch of new towers into the Springfield series, so this is kind of like lore building. The primary towers being in downtown Springfield. My all-time favorite video in the 5th Springfield arc is this video here where I film a very wacky beacon setup on this radio tower that was basically cut in half. Out of all the early Springfield arcs, this here is among one of my favorites. A bunch of really cool moments here and there. I do recommend checking it out at least once. The 5th Springfield arc is a respectable C+. Not even a full month later. Definitely a downgrade from the 5th Springfield arc. Not because it was boring or anything, it's because what you see here is my camera just having a seizure or something. My old camera was just having a bad day during this trip, so some of the videos just turned out really shitty. It still has its cool moments like what you see here. I was able to capture this wacky day mode to night mode beacon transition, and it's one of my favorite early Big LT videos I've ever made, honestly. It's just a cool video, despite the shakiness. This could have been much better if it wasn't for my camera acting up for whatever reason, because there are some cool videos. Just like the 4th Springfield arc, this arc kind of peaks at the end where all the towers are going into night mode. And I also got to film some cool beacon malfunctions and other things. One of my favorite videos from this arc is this one here where you can see an FH324 shining white, but it's still in normal day mode. I'm giving it a D. Here it is, boys, the half and half licking arc. I like it a little more than the other two licking arcs, but not by much. It's kind of a nothing burger, really. I don't really revisit this arc whatsoever, like I don't really watch any videos from this. It does have a cat video in it, so it does get some extra points. Rest in peace to the gray cat though. I'm gonna give this a D. This is the start of a completely new series. This is like the rival to the Springfield arc series. We got the St. Louis series, boys. Unlike the first Springfield arc, the first St. Louis arc is actually decent. This actually used to be one of my favorite St. Louis arcs, but not really anymore, honestly. But it does open the floodgate to not only the St. Louis area, but this direction of I-44 from my town to St. Louis. So a bunch of never seen before towers make their debut in this arc. Some videos do feel like filler though. I do like how I added a little skit video at the end of the arc, though you will never catch me doing this ever again. I think this deserves a C.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I have been waiting oh so long to finally talk about this arc. This is the very first big arc I've ever made. If you don't know what a big arc is, that basically means that it's a normal arc, but it's 100 videos or longer. This is generally one of my favorite arcs I've ever made, and I'm not going to go into full detail about it just to save some time, but here's the highlights. The towers from the St. Louis arc all get night mode videos here. There's a lot of towers that I've been wanting to film out of Missouri for a long time, like the Nashville Candelabras, the downtown Atlanta, Georgia towers, a bunch of cool towers in Georgia and Florida, specifically a bunch of microwave towers with xenon strobes and incandescent 300mm. Out of all 50 US states, Florida probably has the coolest tower population by far. Florida is really just cool. Throughout my stay in Florida, I have encountered a bunch of weird and wacky structures. Hell, I even filmed an entire beacon up close. A lot of cool and unexpected things happened in the Florida arc, and that's why I love it so much. The Florida arc was an experience, and I can't wait to have some sort of Florida arc sequel sometime in the near future, hopefully. I'm going to give this one hell of a rating, and it might be a little controversial because, you know, I made this 4 years ago. Of course, some things have aged, like the quality, some other cringy stuff, but I mean, Come on, dude, it's the Florida Arc. If you were around at the time, then you would know. You had to be there. In the end of the day, I'm actually going to give the Florida Arc a rare but almighty S. This literally takes place right after the end of the Florida Arc. Like, on the drive home, we stopped at St. Louis. This arc really isn't all that special, and it comes right after an S tier arc. The only video that I really like from this arc is the one you're seeing right now of this big FM tower. Generally one of my favorite towers ever. D. Would you look at that? A sequel to an arc that didn't even need a sequel in the first place. It's a little longer and better quality than the original St. Robert arc, but I'm still not really the biggest fan of it. It's kind of forgettable. E tier. Moving on. Another nothing burger arc, really. I don't even know what to talk about in this arc, dude. Nothing really happens. E minus, I guess. Alright, to be honest, I really started to feel the Springfield fatigue here. I was running out of content-worthy material in Springfield. So, what did I do? I proceeded to make 17 more. Oh god. You can tell I was running out of things to film because look at this. I filmed a bunch of lights at a store. I made a video of a shed tour, I guess. Yeah, this is not the type of stuff I usually film. It's okay for what it is, but it's not one of my favorite Springfield arcs. I'm gonna give it a D+. This is the start of a rather boring side series to the Licking series. I'm pretty sure I made like 5 or so of these partial Licking arcs, and they're all the same basically. At least all the towers from the original Licking arc make an appearance here in higher quality. D-. This arc is okay, but I can't shake the feeling of disappointment every time I see this arc. I hyped this arc up so much back then. Unfortunately, it fell flat because the towers are not all that interesting in Lake of the Ozarks. It's decent though. D+. I like this more than the previous 7th Springfield arc. This arc does introduce new towers into the Springfield series. They're not too big or important, but still, it's pretty nice. It's decent for what it is. I'm gonna give it a D+. This is an odd one. I consider this a St. Louis arc, but it also takes place in Fenton. But Fenton, Missouri is a part of the whole St. Louis area though, so I guess it's fine. I used to like this arc a lot more than I do now, but it's kind of shrunk on me. I like it more than the 2nd St. Louis arc, but that's really it. In the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and give this a D+. This is just a copy of Volume 1, that's really it. E. Why does the St. Robert arc have so many sequels? Like, seriously, what is so special about St. Robert's? There's not much in St. Robert's. E- cause I'm too nice. I like this much better than the 8th Springfield arc. The peak of this arc is when I visited the Springfield power plant and the smokestacks. But it ain't all sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately. I stayed the night in Springfield, but I only made 3 night mode videos. I like how stormy it looked during the ride home though. I went storm chaser mode, boy. This used to also be the 2nd biggest arc I've ever made. Oh dude, it was left in the dust, bro. And it's not the 3rd biggest anymore. I'm giving it a C-. This arc is just kinda there, you know? It's kinda like the St. Robert arc, but a little better. It's definitely not an arc I really visit all that often. Or at all, really. Salem, Missouri is like one of those once and done type places when it comes to content. D tier. Woo! Yeah, baby! Oh, hell yes. You know I've been wanting to talk about this too. Just like the Florida arc, there is a lot to unpack here, but I'm not going to go into full detail about it. Just like the Florida arc, there's a bunch of really cool and wacky towers and just beacon malfunctions in general. I filmed the Tower of Americas, most of the San Antonio towers which had beacon malfunctions, and I finally got to film not 1, but 2 towers with FH306 beacons.
Those are like some of my favorite beacons, and they are super rare down where I live. I went through both Dallas, Texas and Fort Worth, Texas. Both of those cities have really cool towers, and I got to film a couple of them. I got the chance to film a couple towers in Oklahoma and much more. I will say it's not better than the Florida Arc, but it's still a very, very good arc that blows almost everything else out the water. Just like the Florida Arc, I'm going to give the Texas Arc an S. The Jefferson City Arc series returns with a new trilogy, and this is better than the first two. I don't know about the third one or not, but it's better than the first two. This arc has some backroom vibe videos, which became popular with my friend group. It's decent, but it's definitely not one of my best works. I'm going to give this a C-. Here's another Big LT classic, boys. Only 1 month later after the Texas arc, we got a South Dakota arc. This is another arc that became an instant classic. There wasn't as many weird and wacky towers as the other two big arcs that came before, but still, I look at this as one of my best arcs I've ever made. It's not as good as the Florida or Texas arc though, so I'm going to end up giving it an A+. Oh my goodness, oh my damn, this feels like a filler arc. The tower videos suck, the towers themselves are not all that interesting, and the main part of this arc was a creek. Don't get me wrong, I do like nature and stuff, but why would I post these videos on a channel about towers and other machines? This is going to be the first and maybe last arc to receive this rating. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and give it an F. F for failure. This is an okay St. Louis arc. I like how bits and pieces from the first 3 St. Louis arcs make an appearance in this arc. Now, as you saw in the title, it's called the St. Louis Arc Washington. But out of the 34 videos in this arc, only 3 of them take place in Washington, Missouri. There's just not much going on in this arc, so it's just an okay arc. D tier. This is by far one of my favorite Jefferson City arcs. Not because of the towers this time, though the tower content here is better than in the last Jefferson City arc. It's actually because these random ass videos here, dude. Like, what the fuck was I doing here? I remember some random ass lady giving me this mean look for doing this at a Spirit Halloween.
He has a drink from Culver's. He has a drink from Culver's.
C+. This arc was kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. This is a milestone in the Springfield series, but nothing interesting really happens. There are some cool videos here and there, but there's nothing big nor nothing new, really. I wanted this to feel like an endgame, but it just feels like another Springfield arc, you know? I called this the endgame Springfield arc, but this is definitely far from any sort of endgame. I'm just going to give it a C-. This is what I call an endgame. This feels like a finale because it has something big in it, in the form of all the Fordland, Missouri TV towers. The KY TV tower, the tower you see right now, this here is basically the final boss. Or what feels like a final boss. I remember discovering this tower back in 2018 in school. I finally got to film it in this arc. So to me personally, the 11th Springfield arc just kind of feels like an endgame that's been building up since 2018, back when I was at school. This is better than the 10th Springfield arc because it just feels like a final boss. It feels like an endgame, a finale. So in the end of the day, I'm going to give this a B-. This is one of my favorite St. Louis arcs because, you know, it expands on the St. Louis area, unlike the last St. Louis arc. This arc introduces a couple new towers along with returning towers like the giant FM tower you just saw. And with the new towers that were introduced, I not only filmed them at day, but I also filmed them at night. So yeah, they're complete. Going back to that FM tower that I was talking about earlier, I also got to film that one at night. And it was pretty cool even though only one beacon was working. I'm going to give this a C+. This arc's not really all that special. I mean, I like it for the updates. It only has like one update and that's it. I actually think it might have 2. I like the ceiling fan video at the beginning of the arc though. That's pretty nice. D-.
Not bad, but not good.
Rule of 4. The first 3 installments have to be either the same or similar. The 4th installment has to change something up. The first 3 big arcs had long road trips. The California arc doesn't. Plane rides really don't ruin arcs, but in the case of this it kinda did, not gonna lie.
Unfortunately, California really loves her beaconless monopoles. The ones that are disguised, like what you see here, are not bad, but still, there's just a bunch of small beaconless monopoles in California.
The Florida arc, Texas arc, and South Dakota arc all had unique towers spread around. The part of California I was at only had monopoles and stuff. Now, a road trip from Missouri to California would have been like 3 or so days, so of course we would fly there. But it did harm the California arc in return. I know the thumbnail of this video might make it seem like I absolutely hate this arc, but I actually don't hate it, but out of all the big arcs I've ever made, this here is still my least favorite. I'm going to give this a rating that's good for smaller arcs, but not too good for big arcs like this. I'm going to go ahead and give this a C. I used to hate this arc, kinda, though I don't hate it anymore. I do think it's a little boring though, not gonna lie. Nothing really interesting happens in this arc other than a couple towers getting new LED beacons. But I did find this weird editing error that I found in a couple of the videos in the arc. Listen to it. I'm not sure what exactly caused that, but it did make the arc a little funnier, you know? I'm going to give it a C-. So you're probably wondering, where's Volume 3? I don't know, I guess I forgot to make a playlist for it, but who cares? This and Volume 4 are both the same thing really, barely any changes whatsoever. D-. And this, folks, is another sequel that was never needed. What warranted another sequel to this boring small town in the middle of Missouri? E tier. I like this more than the 12th Springfield arc. This arc introduces more new towers I've never seen before. I discovered a cool tower that was outside of Springfield, Missouri, so I decided to go down there real fast and film it up close. Nothing else spectacular happens after that though. C+. This is an arc that exists. Nothing too interesting happens here. But hey, this is the debut of my rusty ass Hobart C210 mixer. D-. Branson, Missouri returns with its 3rd installment. And I think it's better than the 2nd Branson arc, which I gave high praise to. And it has far more content too. This was a really fun arc to make anyways. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. A lot of cool structures to film. This arc is also home to one of my favorite washer videos I've ever made. If you know me, then you know that I am a sucker for Whirlpool thin twin washers. I'm going to give this an A-. And that's going to do it for today, folks. Like I said before, I'm going to do this in 2 parts, because I'm not going to fit all 104 arcs into one video. Do you agree with my rankings or do you not? Tell me in the comments. See ya in part 2.